As you may know, I've had issues with eating for the last, I don't know, at this point it's probably been a couple months. And I've had issues with that in the past, no appetite, having to force myself to eat. The only issue is this time when it happened, there was also throwing up going on at the same time. So not only wasn't I hungry, but when I was able to eat, a lot of the times the food would come back out. And over time, that means that my stomach shrunk. So even now, as I'm starting to slowly regain my appetite and being able to eat a little more, I'm still limited by what my body can handle, by how much food my stomach can physically contain in a single day. So it is definitely getting better. In fact, the reason why I'm making this video is because I set a new record yesterday. And I'm very happy that things are slowly getting better because I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but if you have, you know how much it sucks. Not having an appetite, not being hungry, having to force yourself to eat may sound great because a lot of people struggle with the opposite. They're always hungry, they overeat, they're trying to lose weight, and they struggle. They go on diets, they try to force themselves not to eat as much so they can lose weight. And I know that also sucks. I've been there in the past, I've done that in the past, and that sensation of hunger and ignoring it is also very horrible. I just never imagined that, the opposite was also possible. And from my experience, maybe it's different for everyone, but from my experience, not being hungry and having to force yourself to eat, especially when your life literally hangs in the balance, is worse. Much, much worse. And that sensation of like your stomach feeling like it's so full, like it's gonna explode, even though you look down and you're like, my stomach is still flat. It doesn't look like I ate. But my stomach has gotten so small that it can't contain more food. So it's like definitely not a pleasant sensation, definitely not something that I hope anyone else has to go through, but it's definitely something that's common amongst a lot of cancer patients. So I'm sure some of you watching have gone through this or are currently going through this. So, yeah, the record that I set yesterday, as I've mentioned over the last couple weeks, it's been slowly getting better. I've been kind of training my body to eat a little more. I've been trying to force my body to eat a little more to kind of stretch my stomach so it slowly kind of gets bigger and it kind of can accommodate more food. Plus, the fact that I started walking at this point almost a week ago is definitely helping. That is definitely like boosting my appetite. But yeah, it wasn't until yesterday that I set a new record. Because the thing is, I have to be careful, even though I am, very aware of the fact that I need to eat as much as I can, that losing weight, if I get to a certain level, like it's downhill from there and there's nothing you can do. So it's like I'm very aware of that and I know how important it is for me to eat. However, there's also the reverse of if I try to force it too much, if I try to eat too much and I end up throwing up, then not only was all that forcing myself to eat for nothing, but it's actually worse because I throw up more food than I would have consumed even if I ate just a little less. So it's always kind of trying to find that balance between eating enough that I don't lose much weight and eventually I start gaining weight again, and not eating so much that I throw up. So I was kind of that balance. I'm always kind of playing between the two. I'm like, I should eat more. I'm gonna try to eat a little more, but I don't want to risk throwing up. So it's like there's always that. I don't know if this is a good idea every time I eat later in the day. So, but yesterday, for some reason, I ate well, not that much, but a lot compared to what I've been able to eat recently. So started the day off with a big slice of watermelon. Then I had four waffles with cream cheese and jam. Then I had two burritos. Then I had about a pound of strawberries. And then a handful of blue grapes. And finally, I'd say about a carrot and a third. Now, I know that seems like a weird quantity of carrots to eat. The reason why is because, I bought a bag of carrots and I guess to get the appropriate weight, they needed to kind of like break a carrot. So there was a piece of carrot in there. So I ate that. And then after that, I'm like, you know what? I'm still a little hungry. Well, not really hungry, but I can sense my body can take a little more. So I ate another carrot. So even though not that much food, and yeah, a lot of them were fruits and vegetables. So when it comes to calories, it doesn't produce that much. So it's not the best to gain weight. But just for the fact that I was able to eat more and my body could handle it, I didn't throw up. I still felt relatively good. It didn't really feel like my stomach was about to explode. And I think the reason for that is that for some reason, I was able to eat later in the day, even though normally pretty much any time past 4 p.m., it's very, very, very risky for me to eat. And in general, I have no appetite whatsoever. And it's just eating past 4 p.m. lately has not been a good idea. But for some reason, yesterday, it was okay. So definitely would have been better calorie wise if I ate, let's say, two more burritos later in the day rather than eating, fruits and vegetables. But, this is a slow process. Yes, I am getting better. Yes, I am aware that if I'm able to get my weight back up or at least stable when I have the next meeting with my oncologist in, at this point, 2 weeks' time, it's definitely going to be a good thing. And even if the results of the scan don't necessarily go in the direction that I would want, if I'm able to maintain my weight, then, there might be a chance that it's like, okay, even though it's not the results we were hoping for, it still makes more sense to continue with the immunotherapy. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but getting my weight under control or at least decreasing the speed at which it's, well, decreasing is definitely a good thing. So even though yesterday I could have eaten more caloric foods, I'm definitely proud of myself for hitting that new milestone. And also, I'm proud of my body for being able to handle it, not throwing up, and not, getting that sensation of, I'm so full, I'm going to explode. So it's definitely, things are definitely going in the right direction. Plus, I don't think this is related to food, but I am going to mention it just because, the whole point of these videos is to chronicle the experience of having stage 4 cancer and everything that I go through. So another kind of cool milestone yesterday is I went for my walk as usual. And normally, I go at a relatively slow pace. The whole point is not to really push myself. The point is just let's walk, let's start rebuilding the muscle, let's enjoy being at the park, being in nature. So I kind of take my time, and usually the average speed I'd say would be around 15 minutes per kilometer. But yesterday I was walking and I seemed to be walking a little faster. And after a couple kilometers, I'm like, my pace seems to be faster than normal. Let's kind of try to set a new record today. I feel good. Let's just go. Like, I don't want to push myself too much. I didn't run. I just walked the entire time, but I walked faster. And at the end, by the time I got back and was done the 5 kilometers, the average pace was 12 minutes. So 3 minutes per kilometer faster. So that's another really cool milestone. And either as a result of pushing myself a little more physically, or the fact that I ate more, or a combination of the two, or something completely unrelated, I did sleep better last night. Now, once again, I did wake up multiple times throughout the night, and I did have to go to the bathroom a couple times, and I was still sore and stuff like that. But I did feel like I got a better night's rest than I normally do. So it's like, all right, yesterday and yesterday night definitely were good. Not quite sure why. I don't know if it will continue in that trend. I really hope so. But I'm going to take the wins when I can get them because at this point they're kind of not necessarily that far between, but they definitely don't happen that often. So at this point, I'm going to take any win I can get. So yeah, it's nice to share some good news for a change because it seems like lately, the last couple weeks, it's just been kind of bad news after bad news. Well, potentially bad news after potentially bad news because we're still waiting on the results. So yeah, while we're waiting, at least there's a little good news happening. That's been my update. Talk to you tomorrow.